Now, I want you to picture something with me. You walk into the grocery store this week and you grab a little bag of green beans off the shelf. $4. You grab a couple zucchini wrapped up in plastic. 5. A few cucumbers, a couple more. And come fall, you'll grab one little sugar pumpkin, and they'll want $7, $8 for it. One pumpkin. And you don't even blink anymore, do you? You just put it in the cart, because hey, that's what food costs now. And what are you gonna do? But here's the thing I want to bother you a little. Because it should. It's June. The ground out there is warm, all the way through. The days are about as long as they're ever gonna get. The sun is doing every single thing right. And there you are, standing in a checkout line, under those buzzing lights, handing your money to a stranger for the exact same food your own backyard is sitting there begging to grow for you. Right now, this week, for almost nothing. And here's the part that really gets me. In a few short weeks, when these crops are coming up in gardens all over your town, when your neighbor's got so much squash she's sneaking bags of it onto your porch, you're going to be standing in that same line, paying that same climbing price, wishing you'd put a few little $2 seed packets in the ground back when you had the chance. Because that's the cruel thing about June, friend. June is a door, and it does not stay open. Some of what I'm going to show you today, if you miss it now, you don't get another shot till next year. A whole year. Gone. Over a week you let slip right by. So sit with that for a second, because there are 5 crops, just 5, that you can plant this very week. Seeds that'll cost you, what, 10, 12 bucks for the whole lot? And they'll feed you all summer long, and some of them will carry you clear into the cold months when the rest of the garden's gone to sleep. A seed in your hand to food on your family's plate before the leaves even turn. My name's David, and I have been growing food in this garden long enough to have made every mistake there is. And I mean every one. I've planted too late and watched a crop never quite finish. I've planted everything at once and drowned in beans for a week and had nothing to the whole rest of the month. And the worst one, the one that still stings, I've looked up in the middle of July, basket in my hand, and realized the window for half these crops had quietly shut while I was busy looking the other way. And let me tell you, there's no feeling like it. The season handed you the chance, and you just let it walk on by. I don't want that for you. So today, I'm going to walk you through the 5 crops you will seriously regret not getting in the ground this June. For each one, I'll tell you why it earns its spot, how to plant it so it actually works, and the honest catch, the thing that'll trip you up if nobody warns you first. Because I'm not going to hand you a list of promises and send you out there to fail. And then, right at the end, I'm going to tell you the quiet little reason that nobody at that grocery store has any interest in teaching you how easy this really is. Stick with me to the end, though. Because number 5? That's the one everybody forgets to plant. And it's the exact one you're going to miss the most come October, standing in a parking lot, paying $8 for something you could have grown for a quarter. All right, let me show you the 5. Number 1, bush beans. Now, if you plant nothing else on this whole list, you plant these. I mean it. Bush beans are the most forgiving, most generous, most beginner-proof thing a person can put in the ground, and June drops them right in the sweet spot. You don't start them inside. You don't fuss over little seedlings under a light. You just poke the seed straight into warm dirt, about an inch down, give it a drink, and in 50, 60 days, you're out there picking beans by the handful. That's it. That's the whole thing. But here's the trick the regretful gardener learns one season too late, so learn it from me right now and save yourself the year. You do not plant all your beans at once. You dump that whole packet in the ground the same day. You get one giant wall of beans for about 10 days, way more than you can eat, and then nothing the rest of the summer. So instead, You plant a little row this week. Another little row 2 weeks from now. Another 2 weeks after that. They call it succession planting, and it's the best habit in the whole vegetable garden. And what it buys you is fresh beans rolling in, steady, from midsummer right up till frost. Never too much, never too little. Always something to pick. A $2 packet of seed against a $4 bag at the store every single week of summer. That math ain't close. It's not even in the same county. Now, the honest catch, 'cause I promised you one for each. Beans hate cold, wet feet. You plant them in cool, soggy spring soil, and that seed will just sit there and rot before it ever sprouts, and you'll be standing there wondering what you did wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. You just planted too early. In June, you're usually fine. Just make sure that soil's truly warm and don't drown the seeds before they come up. Number 2, summer squash and zucchini. This right here is your fastest reward in the whole garden. Nothing beats it. 45, 50 days from a seed in the dirt to a squash in your skillet. And then the thing just does not quit. This is the crop gardeners make jokes about, and the jokes are all true. One healthy zucchini plant will give you so much squash that by August, you'll be sneaking bags of it onto your neighbor's porch, ringing the doorbell, and running off before they can hand it back. I'm only half kidding. And that's exactly why squash belongs in a June garden. Most food, least patience, of anything you can grow. And here's the little secret with squash. The more you pick, the more it makes. You leave one big ol' overgrown squash on the vine, the plant figures its job's done and slows right down. But you keep picking the young tender ones every couple days, and it keeps cranking them out, trying to make a seed it never gets to finish. So you're the reason it stays generous. The honest catch, and I won't hide this one, 'cause it's the heartbreaker. Squash bugs and the vine borer can hit these plants hard come midsummer, and a healthy plant can go from thriving to dead in just a few days if you're not watching. But the fix takes seconds. Once a week, you flip a few leaves over and look underneath. You see little clusters of shiny bronze eggs. You wipe them off with your thumb right then, and that's the end of it. Catch it early, it's nothing. Ignore it 2 weeks, you lose the plant. A few seconds of looking once a week. That's the whole price. Number 3, cucumbers. Now here's the beautiful thing about cucumbers in June. Everything that makes this time of year hard on your spring crops, that's exactly what a cucumber's been waiting for. The warm soil, the hot afternoons, the long light. Your lettuce hates all of it, but your cucumber loves it. Plant one now and it takes off, and once it gets going, it produces for weeks. And do yourself a favor. Give it something to climb. A little trellis, a piece of cattle panel bent into an arch, some netting on the fence. Let it grow up instead of sprawling all over the ground. And that does 3 good things at once. The fruit hangs down clean and straight instead of curling up in the dirt, the leaves get more air so they stay healthier, and you free up a ton of ground for something else. Makes a small garden produce like a big one. And here's the part that pays you back when the garden's fast asleep. The cucumbers you can't eat fresh, you turn into pickles, and a jar of crisp pickles that you made with your own cucumbers, cracked open in the dead of January. That's a real little magic right there. Costs you next to nothing but a summer afternoon. You're eating your June garden in the middle of winter. The honest catch on cucumbers. They go bitter and tough the second they get thirsty. That's the number one reason homegrown cucumbers let people down. Uneven watering. So give them a good deep soak a couple times a week, down at the roots. That beats a sad little sprinkle every evening, every time. Keep the water steady. The cukes stay sweet. Number 4, okra. Now this is the one almost nobody on your street's gonna plant, and skipping it is the quietest, biggest mistake of all in a hot summer. And here's why. By July, August, your spring greens have bolted and quit. Your lettuce is a memory, half your garden's just trying to survive the heat. And right in the middle of all that misery, okra is getting happy. It doesn't tolerate the heat. It loves it. It thrives in the exact brutal conditions that flatten everything else. Which makes June, with the hottest months coming up right behind it, the perfect time to get it in warm ground. The plants grow tall and good-looking. The flowers are so pretty, like a little hibiscus. You could grow it just for that. And once it starts setting pods, it comes on fast and keeps on coming till frost. The honest catch is easy, but you gotta honor it. Okra's gotta be picked young, every 2-3 days, while the pods are small and tender. 3-4 inches. No bigger. You let them sit and get big, they turn woody and stringy and tough, and they're good for nothing but the compost. So you walk out in the cool of the evening with your little basket every couple days, and you pick. And I'll tell you something, that evening walk in the soft light after the heat's broke, basket in hand, checking your tall okra and your beans and your squash. That becomes one of the best parts of the whole summer. The picking stops being a chore. It starts being the reason you go out there. Number 5, pumpkins and winter squash. Now this is the one everybody forgets, and it's the one you'll regret the most. And I want to be real clear about why. These crops are slow. 90 days to maturity, sometimes 100, some winter squash even longer. And that long timeline, that's the whole point. June is your last good window to get them planted with enough season left to finish. Plant a pumpkin seed now, tend that sprawling vine through the summer, and come October, you walk out to your own garden and carry in pumpkins for the porch and hard winter squash, butternut, acorn, the big keepers, that'll sit in your cool pantry, feeding your family clear through the cold months, long after the rest of the gardens died back. A roasted butternut squash in December that you grew back in June. That's the payoff right there. But miss this window? Wait till July figuring you'll get to it? There is no fixing it. The season just runs out from under you. The vines never ripen before frost. And come October, you're standing in a parking lot pumpkin patch, handing over real money for something you could have grown for the price of a few seeds. And that's the regret that lasts the longest. 'Cause you don't even feel it in summer. You feel it in the fall, when it's way too late to do a thing about it. Honest catch, these things sprawl, and they sprawl big. One vine will run 10-15 feet, so they need room, a corner where they can ramble, or a sturdy trellis for the little varieties. And they need that whole season, start to finish, which is exactly why you can't wait. Give M the space, and get 'em in the ground now, while that door's still open. Now I want to stop for a second, because this is the part that matters. Look at what we just did. 5 crops, a little handful of seed packets, 10, 12 bucks for all of them. And set against that little pile of seeds, you've got a whole summer and a whole fall of beans and squash and cucumbers and okra and pumpkins. The kind of harvest that grocery store would happily charge you hundreds and hundreds of dollars for one overpriced bag, one plastic-wrapped vegetable at a time, week after week after week. So how can both those things be true at the same time? The seeds cost about nothing, and the food costs a small fortune? But they're both true. They've always been true. So why does it feel to so many good, capable folks like growing your own food is some lost, complicated art that belongs to somebody else? Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you there's some villain in a back room plotting against your vegetable garden. The truth's quieter than that. And honestly, it's almost worse. See, there's no money in a $2 packet of bean seeds that feeds a family all summer. But there is a whole lot of money in the produce aisle. In the plastic wrap, the trucks hauling beans across the country, and most of all, in that comfortable little idea that fresh food is something you buy, never something you grow with your own two hands. Nobody films a fancy commercial for a packet of seeds. Nobody, at the checkout, leans over and goes, "You know, you could have grown all this in your backyard for the change in your pocket." And so, slow, over a couple generations, a whole country of perfectly capable people came to believe a garden's just a cute little hobby for somebody with too much time. It's not a conspiracy. There's nobody to blame. It's just where the money sits. And the money's got no reason to tell you any different. But it's bigger than money, and I think you already feel it, or you wouldn't be here. 'Cause when you grow your own food, you really know, exactly what's on your family's plate. 'Cause you watched every bit of it come up out of your own dirt. You walk out the back door in the gold of the evening with an empty basket, and you walk back in with dinner. And there's a steadiness in that, a quiet kind of pride that no store anywhere is ever gonna sell you. Price of beans could double tomorrow, and it wouldn't reach into your kitchen. That's not really about saving a few bucks, though you will. That's about standing on your own 2 feet, on your own piece of ground, in a world that'd honestly rather you never learned how. And that's the real reason I keep my hands in this soil year after year. And it's the real reason I want you to put those seeds in the ground. So here's what I want you to do this week. This week, right now, while June's still young and that door's still wide open. Pick up 5 seed packets, bush beans, summer squash, cucumbers, okra, and 1 pumpkin or winter squash. That's the whole shopping list. Get them into warm soil, water them in good, give them a little honest attention through the summer, and let June do what June was made to do. And then come on down to the comments and tell me, which of the 5 are you planting first? And if you already got something growing this year, tell us all what it is and how it's doing. 'Cause the things you share down there teach the new growers in this little community more than I ever could on my own. And I read every single one of them. And next time, since you're going to have all these seeds in the ground, depending on you, I'm going to show you the simple watering and feeding routine that takes a sad, struggling June garden and turns it into the kind that's overflowing by August.